For decades, I've been obsessed, not just with nature's extraordinary superpowers, but how they can be used to enhance virtually every aspect of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. I've traveled the world learning about the histories and mysteries of rare plants, the sciences that are dedicated to understanding Mother Nature and what makes her tick, the unexplained phenomenon that can only be described as spiritual. And now, I've dedicated my work to sharing my most life-changing findings with you. I'm Dr. Leslie, and this is Herbal Living. Today, in order to, as an homage to my Southern roots specifically, I thought it would be fun to share some old medicinal recipes from the South. Some recipes that I've updated and enhanced with essential oils. Now, where did these original recipes come from? A lot of the practices in medicinal plants that were brought over from Africa by enslaved people were handed down in an oral tradition. Many of us who have connections to our Southern heritage know these recipes. It's like, oh yeah, my grandma would do this for a toothache, and it involved cinnamon and clove, and it's just things that we remember from our own personal family history stories. There are also anthologies. So two recipes that I'm going to share with you tonight came from African American slave medicine. So this is an incredible resource book when it comes to caring for our physical wellness using plants. It's a huge part of our heritage. So it's a big part of our heritage in the Black community, but no matter where you come from, it's a part of your heritage, human history. Us as a species, we all have a history of using plants as medicine. But Black History Month, I'm focusing on my heritage. And so the two recipes I want to share with you, first of all, this book has some incredible interviews. It has with previously enslaved people. It also has what plants were growing in the area that were harvested, how they were used medicinally. And there's just a lot of information about slave herb doctors is what they were referred to in some cases. There's a history here of gathering herbs, how they were gathered, how they were preserved, and then also recipes of how they were used. Now, many of us were not taught in school. I sure wasn't taught in school this side of history. We're taught about slavery in school, kind of depending on where you went to school. It may or may not have been as airbrushed as possible or rushed through. But I never learned about Black doctors in the South who were self-taught, self-educated, using herbs as medicine. In many cases, many documented cases, they were able to earn income on the side. Their owners would allow them to practice medicine. It was great for the owners because, hey, he's keeping or she's keeping all the slaves healthy so they can keep working. Great, no problem. In many cases, they would allow them to practice outside of their own plantation. So they would be able to charge for their work, working for white families as well as other enslaved individuals. And in some cases, able to buy their own freedom, save up enough to buy their own freedom. All three using this wisdom that they learned from each other, shared with each other, all about plants as medicine. So I was really inspired by that. I will be spending this entire month focusing on some of these herbal remedies and what things grow in my area. And then, of course, what I can enhance with essential oils. So the first recipe I'm going to share with you is an old recipe for a foot soak, because they didn't have access to much, but they could build a fire, they could find water, and they could forage for herbs with healing properties. So because of all that manual labor, there were oftentimes a lot of injuries and sores in the feet and in the legs and in the muscles. So when we go through a lot of these different books that I have, there's a lot of recipes that are anti-inflammatory, a lot of recipes for muscle balms and salves and soaks and things like that. This one in the recipe says that it's collected, all the ingredients are collected and boiled down together, and then soaked the feet in order to bring down swelling. The original recipe involved green pine needles, wintergreen berry, and baking soda, all boiled in water. So I actually, you guys, don't think I'm not serious about this. I went foraging. I found some green pine needles and I boiled these, and it was so fragrant. I added a few drops of pine essential oil. The original recipe called for wintergreen berry. And so, of course, I thought about wintergreen, but then why not, if you have it on hand, grab some panaway, because panaway has wintergreen, helichrysum, clove, and peppermint. Now, clove and mint are both found in this anthology and were heavily used by American slaves because they were easy to find, easy to identify in the woods by their fragrance, and grew plentifully throughout the South. So a couple of ingredients from panaway. So I put a few drops of panaway in there, put it all into my foot tub and soaked, and I'm about to do it again tonight because I woke up feeling much, much better. Now, I'm always excited to hang out with you guys. Every time I have a class, I get excited about it, but especially tonight because it involves me making things that are historically relevant to me in a very special way, but also are a means of me doing self-care. So I've got my little soak, and the way you do it is you add the essential oils directly to the Epsom salt. You'll see them kind of beating together. You want to shake it, stir it around, and let the salt absorb the oils. Then you're going to add it to your hot water. Keep going. So a lot of us have heard of golden milk, right? It's this Instagram phenomenon that's actually an ancient recipe from India. But West Africa has its own version of golden milk. American enslaved individuals had their own recipe for golden milk. So what I've put together today is a modern take on golden milk that kind of combines all of those recipes. Now, golden milk has a lot of benefits. It can help you get better sleep. It's powerfully anti-inflammatory. It can aid weight loss, and it's immune boosting. So it's something that all of us should be drinking throughout the winter months, especially. Okay, so the recipe that I'm gonna share with you today is just for one serving. And that's why I put it right into my personal shake bottle, because I'm gonna blend this all together. So you want to heat your milk, preferably a nut milk, okay? Dairy causes inflammation in the body, so you want to do a dairy-free milk. And you want to warm it. If you do it on the stovetop, if you're anti-microwave, more power to you. Warm it on the stovetop, but don't make it boil. You're just going to warm it until you see that steam. Okay, we know there's some heat there, but it's not boiling. Now I'm going to add to this. This is when I break out my good honey, you guys. This is raw local Manuka honey. I'm going to add about that much straight into this warm milk. It's medicinal. Okay, so this is my expensive honey. I don't put this one on my waffles, you guys. This is the highest grade honey that I can afford, because honey is powerful medicine and was also used by enslaved individuals. A knob of ginger, it's about 1 inch. I'm going to put this right in my hot milk. The same amount of turmeric. Now, what I get excited about when we talk about turmeric is Young Living's golden turmeric. This adds some sweetness to it. So you can cut back on the honey. If you're making this with turmeric, just plain turmeric root, fantastic. It still has benefits, but this one is more potent and more bioavailable. So we're going to add a tiny bit. It only takes 1/2 of a teaspoon, tiny bit. And then I'm actually going to add straight coconut oil. Now I'm going to do this for a couple of reasons. Yes, it has, it's all made out of medium chain triglycerides. So that's fantastic for brain health, heart health, can be used. It's a healthy fat. So I'm going to add that in. And now the magic happens. 2 to 3 drops of thieves essential oil. And I'm also going to add 1 drop of black pepper essential oil. Also powerfully anti-inflammatory. Now, I've got all of that goodness in my little shaker bottle. I'm going to blend this for like 30 seconds and show you what it looks like. You just blend it to combine. Now, I put my ginger root in there and my turmeric in there. I'm a herbal veteran. I don't want to strain mine. I want the fiber in there as well. But if you would like, you can strain yours. Ah, it smells like heaven. I'm going to show you what that coconut oil does. When you blend it, that's what turns into the sweet foam that Starbucks charges you an extra $2 for. This is one of my favorite evening beverages. It smells delicious. So those are the 2 recipes I wanted to share with you, but there will be lots more throughout the month. This month is all about Black History Month, all about self-care. And so you're hearing it from me. I'm encouraging you to take responsibility and ownership of your own wellness and well-being journey by looking into some of these recipes and finding some to try out. Ready to get your hands on some of these amazing products? Use the exclusive shopping link in this video's description box.